Hello, I'm back in the kitchen. So I have a couple different projects going here. I have some food for my worms. I have to feed them. Then I got this licorice spice tea. I'm not a real huge fan of licorice, but it's supposed to be good for reflux. So I'm trying a new combination with the licorice spice, and then I got this decaf pumpkin spice. I got both of these on sale. So I have 4 tea bags all together, and I'm going to try and make a new iced tea, or I could heat it up if I wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in my little container here, and hopefully I can do this with one hand without it spilling all over the place. Okay, that's too far under the microwave, so let's try it this way. So this is a new tea combination I'm trying, and hopefully it'll give me some relief from my reflux, but that remains to be seen. So I'm just going to put all 4 of these tea bags right in here and let it sit for quite a while until it's cold, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge. So another project I've got going here, because you know I've always got a project. So I got all this garlic from my mother's garden that's sort of going wild because she really can't garden anymore, unfortunately. So I want to try to replant some of this. We did get some really small garlic bulbs, but I've learned that these are called bulbils, and they're the little bulbs that you get when you let your garlic, now this is hardneck, when you let your garlic go to flower, you get these little bulbils. And supposedly, if you plant these, it'll take a couple years to get a garlic bulb, but supposedly if you plant them, they will turn into garlic rounds, and then you can replant these again. You pull them up and then you replant them again in the fall, and then you can get some garlic. So I'm going to try it. I didn't know that was such a process, but it says it takes 2 to 3 years to have it grow into garlic. So you have to be patient. But, you know, I like these little experiments. So I'm going to be doing that. And then over here I have some butter in a skillet, and I had some cabbage left over and a small onion, and I have all these cherry tomatoes from my garden that need to be cooked up. So I'm going to brown this up and put it with some egg noodles and have 2 or 3 meals. So I'm just going to melt this butter, and actually I ended up feeding quite a bit of my produce to my composter because I haven't been home to cook it, which that way at least I feel like I'm not totally wasting my food. But I had some carrots and a little bit of, I didn't have that much left over, but some carrots and a little bit of lettuce, just a little tiny bit. I used most of it up. But sometimes it happens. So I'm going to let this butter melt, and then I'm going to cook this up, and then I'll boil some egg noodles and have a meal. I have my tomatoes in there, and my coffee is done. I warmed this up like 3 or 4 times, but Our Giant Eagle here has a fall coffee pack. I think you get 32 little pods for $9.99, and that's a good deal. So this one, it happens to be pecan pie, and it's really tasty. Oh, bless you, buddy. Alright, so I've got my tomatoes in there. Gonna let those cook a few minutes. And I'm going to salt and pepper. At least salt. Whoa, that's a lot. I get the pink Himalayan salt at the Dollar Tree, and then I refill this. I don't remember where I first got this one, but it's really got big holes in it. I should put it in a smaller container. But this will be alright. It was quite a bit of salt, but I still have cabbage going in there, so not a big deal. So I'm going to add the onions too, and then I will add the cabbage. You know, I've noticed a lot of people are now doing pantry cooking. I didn't see so much of that when I started pantry cooking a couple years ago, but I imagine it's because people are stocking up and then trying to use up their stock. But anyway, I'll be back after this cooks down a little. So I'm trying to use up this head of cabbage that was starting to get a little funky. So I made up this coleslaw, and I used raspberry dressing and a little tahini. I put in celery seed, some garlic salt, because I want to make some fish tacos or something along those lines. So I still have half a head of cabbage. And then I got this beautiful eggplant from my garden. Yay! Always makes me happy. And then half a cabbage, and I want to make a lentil soup with this half a cabbage. So, if you don't have a lot of money for groceries, think about buying a cabbage, because there's so many things you can do with it. You can add it to soups, you can add it to stews, and it can really, really stretch your money. And it's very healthy for you. You can pickle it and make it into sauerkraut. So, and it's cheap. It's really cheap. Here's another thing I made from some of the produce that I got. The cucumber was from my garden, and I had bought these little mini peppers, and I didn't want them to go bad, so I just made some pickle brine and made refrigerator pickles out of them, and it's really tasty. You can put onions in there, whatever you want. So I have some extra pickle brine that I had in the refrigerator. So I made those up so I wouldn't waste the peppers, and you can stretch your produce that way just by making a refrigerator pickle out of them. And that's another cheap way to use up your produce. Another thing I made out of some of my produce, and it's just a little bit, but that's going to be going into something, I'm not sure yet, but I had some peppers that I roasted and some eggplant that I roasted. So I put that, oh, and I had a little piece of onion, and I roasted it all with some oil. So that's going to be going into something. You could put it on pizza, just different things. So it didn't make much, but... Oh, and garlic. I had some garlic cloves too that I wanted to use up. So that's another way you can preserve some of your produce, and you don't have to throw it away. So you could put that roasted pepper and garlic and that mixture onto a pizza, And if you don't use it right away, you can freeze it and use it later. So really you have nothing to lose if you freeze something and, you know, if it's getting old. And if it doesn't turn out when you thought, you really haven't lost much, but at least you tried to preserve it as best you could. So I'm going to finish cooking this up and cook some egg noodles, and that will be dinner. So now I'm going to cook up my noodles. I get these at the Dollar Tree. They're egg noodles for $1. I think that's a good buy. They're much more expensive other places. So I'm going to cook those up. And noodles are always a good way to stretch your meals. Cheap way too. So between the cabbage and the noodles, it's a winner. All right, my pasta is done. I'm going to add just a little bit more butter. I've had this butter in my refrigerator for a long time, so I'm trying to use it up. I know, not the healthiest fat, but I don't want to waste things, so I'm going to use it up. So I'm just putting a little butter on here so the noodles don't stick. And then I'm going to add this to the cabbage. Here's the cabbage and the tomatoes. Now I know usually with cabbage and noodles you don't put tomatoes, but I had them and I want to use them up. So you can always reinvent your food to your liking. So this is enough for at least 2 meals. It makes quite a bit. And I'll be having this for dinner tonight. Now I'm just going to add a little bit of this complete seasoning because I like my food a little bit saltier. I know that's not good for you either, but you got to eat what you like. And I think that has a good flavor. Now if I got that at my last Dollar Tree haul, but it does have MSG in it, so if you don't like that, then that would not be the spice for you. But it does have a very good flavor. And this will become more flavorful as it sits in the refrigerator for my second meal. I love leftovers. Well, here it is. Let's give it a taste. Now you could add some sausage to this, either vegan or whatever kind of sausage you like. But I'm going to give this a taste because I don't want any sausage. All right, let's see what it tastes like. Quick and easy and cheap. If you don't like tomatoes, leave them out. You could add peppers, you can add onions. Really, to something like this, you can add anything you want. You can put some beans in there if you have beans already cooked up, and it would be delicious. All right, so that's the end of another cooking adventure. Nothing wasted in the refrigerator. My compost was fed. Well, I did waste some carrots. And I wasted a little tiny bit of lettuce. And the rest I'm feeding to my worms because they get hungry too. So that was a cheap meal. It was a quick meal. So go scrounging in your produce drawer and see what you can put together. You can freeze almost anything, lettuce, tomatoes, all that. So future you will appreciate it because you won't have to buy it. All right, my friends, that's all I have for you today. I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys. Be good to yourself, be good to others. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. Thanks for watching.